Hey there, everyone. Before we start the show, we here at Popcorn for Dinner want to give a big shout out to our good friend and illustrator, Kyle Kedzik, for helping us celebrate making it to 40 episodes with some brand new custom artwork, which is now up on all of our social media accounts. We love it. We hope you love it. And if you're looking for some new custom artwork for your business or project, you can look him up on Facebook at Kyle Kedzik, or even drop him a line at kylekedzik@gmail.com. That's KYLEKEDZUCH@gmail.com. Everybody, welcome back to Popcorn for Dinner. This is Jeff.
And Kelly.
We are smack dab in the middle of Video Game Movie Month here on Popcorn for Dinner. We've already done the Rock star Doom.
Yep.
The Marky Mark star Max Payne. And now we are, no disrespect to either of those two guys, but we are jumping up a little bit in the actor department, if not so much in the movie quality department, because this week we have Michael Fassbender in the 2016 science fiction action film Assassin's Creed.
Woo!
I am very glad to have you here to talk about this. Because
I am very glad to be here to talk about this.
Yeah, I have watched a little bit of these games. I have a general vibe about these games, and I was so confused during this movie. I was absurdly confused during this movie about stuff that I thought was pretty straightforward as far as I knew, and I was like, this is so much more complicated and weird and than I've ever understood this to be.
Some of it is a little bit needlessly complicated, but we'll get to that.
Okay, because in a sort of flip-flop from last week where in terms of Max Payne, it was like, I don't want to get too bogged down in what the game was supposed to be versus what the movie wound up being. In this case, I really do want some answers because there are so many things in this where I'm just like, I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Was there not a lot of stuff in this that was like, what? Even for people who played the game?
A little bit, yeah. For reference, I have played 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations 3, and 4. So I've played the first 6.
Okay.
But the first 5 Assassin's Creed games follow pretty much the same sort of bloodline.
Okay, and it all has to do with essentially what this movie is about. The Assassins versus the Templars all throughout history.
Yep. A good group of fans consider the movie canon.
Okay.
Which I guess
it's like it technically doesn't wreck anything from the games.
Yeah.
It's like it could exist. It's just why.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because they did pull like a decent amount of stuff from the first 2 historical players that you play through in 1 and then 2 Brotherhood and Revelations. The smoke bombs were a big thing. Like,
okay.
So like
I know the like blades that come out of the thing. Is that like every assassin has blades?
Yes.
Or
Yes. And
in the games, everyone has them?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All the assassins do.
Well, right. I don't mean like every person on the street.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Yeah.
One thing I'm glad that they did show was the cutting off of the finger.
Okay, so that did happen.
Yes.
I wrote a note. I was like, did they take his finger?
Yes.
It was kind of unclear at first.
Yes.
And then they showed him later.
That's like Assassin's Creed lore, essentially, that the original Assassins, when the blade was developed, they had to cut off that finger to make room for the blade. Otherwise, the blade your finger was going to get caught on the blade.
Oh, okay.
And so over the years, they developed, new technology and stuff, so they don't have to cut fingers off anymore to have the blades. That's why Michael Fassbender didn't lose a finger.
Right, in the present timeline.
Right.
Okay.
But yes, that was a thing.
Okay. See, I'm mostly what really baffled me, what I have the most notes about, is basically this whole, like their whole technology the animus, all of that shit. Nothing but questions, and I'm so confused.
Okay.
On top of everything, like you essentially just have to throw a shitload of like logic and things out the window completely. Like right off the bat of the movie, because my first note was that, for one, they making you fucking read the history of the whatever. Is like, oh my god, let's move this along. Tell us or show us that. Don't tell us that. But as I'm reading it, I fucking read the power to control all freedom of thought. And I went, what? Really? That's the thing? They keep talking about this apple of Eden as the genetic code for free will. And I was like, oh my God. Like the gameplay and all of that sort of stuff is clearly the selling point of stuff like Assassin's Creed. And not to say like, and they don't give a shit about the writing.
Yeah.
It's just that they're like, that's just whatever. Who cares? Who gives a shit if that sounds absolutely ludicrous?
It's
that there's a genetic code for free will. What?
It's explained differently in the game. To my recollection, it is not ever referenced as the genetic code for free will.
Okay, because that was absurd.
It's a device that can make people do what you want them to do.
Okay, so it's essentially like a hypnotist thing. Like it's like it controls their.
Just,
it's literally just a brainwashing device.
Yeah, just en masse. Yeah.
Yeah, that the description of it was just like it didn't, especially didn't help, because by the end of the movie, I mean throughout a lot of the movie, they're obviously trying to find it, and you know, whether it's the past or the present timeline, people are like playing with it and throwing it around and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what it does. At one point, it just starts glowing green with some like mist and everything. It's like, what is it doing? I don't understand. Why should anybody be afraid of it? Like, what can you actually do with this thing? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like it holds the genetic code. Like, so it just tells you what the code is, and then you have to go in and do shit to mess with their free will. Like, it's just a step in the plan. It's not the final thing that does it.
No, it
is. Like, what is this fucking device? This is ridiculous. So the Templars and the Assassins fighting for centuries, blah, blah, blah. They're looking for this apple that, God, they use the word apple so much in the movie. They just say it every scene. There's at least one reference to like either an apple, like another apple, like an actual apple, or the apple.
Yep.
So they're trying to find this thing because it can control everything, whatever.
Yes.
The Templars want it to like control the whole world. And the Assassins want it to keep it away from the Templars.
Yes.
Like they have no game in this. Like they're not like, we're going to get it and we're going to do this with it. They're just like, we're just going to make sure they don't do anything with it.
Exactly.
So it's obvious like who is supposed to be like the good guy versus the bad guy, sort of.
Yeah. In the games, it's more obvious. They did kind of play up Abstergo and the Templars a little bit to be like, oh no, we just want to prevent all violence.
Right. Well, see, I didn't fall for that. It's not like I couldn't tell that they were bad guys. Like I knew that they were clearly the bad ones, because I mean Michael Fassbender's playing the fucking the guy who's going against them.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he's clearly the hero, and then they're going to be the bad guys.
And it's not the first time Marion Cotillard has turned out to be the bad guy.
Oh no. See, she was fucking ridiculous because I thought that the movie knew, or I thought that she knew what she was the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it felt to me like she was, you know, she's trying to get him to go into his memories, or his fucking great grandfather's memories, somehow science bullshit.
Yeah.
I really I get that that's the way that you make the game. You know what I mean? It's like you go into the memories and you go back there, and then that's where all the fucking fun shit happens. So fudge the science, get to the fucking assassinations. Like, okay, I get it. But in terms of like just hand wavy movie magic science stuff, where it's just like, and we go into your genetic memory. Like, wait, what? What? Our genes hold the memories of our long dead ancestors? What? Okay, when you're not playing it, you think about it more now, and you're like, wait a minute, this is so silly.
Yeah.
But like she is selling it to him as like, we're gonna find this apple, and we are gonna make it so that the fucking world isn't violent anymore. That there's no more like hate and war and shit. And I was like, okay, so like she knows she's evil, and is selling it to him like that.
Yeah.
Like, clearly to me. And then by the end of the movie, she's like suddenly surprised
Yeah.
that the Templars are evil. And she's like, that's not what I was doing. And I was like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought this was your plan. You kept
Yeah.
saying the whole time that, like, this is my thing, Dad. Jeremy Irons' dad. Like, that was so, it seemed more like I'm fucking doing this to me. And then at the end, it's like, oh no, she really didn't know. How do you not?
I don't know.
Because, like, there's just all that history. And you're going back, and all the fucking Templar characters, when they're watching all of his memories, are horrible. They're evil. They're burning villages to the ground and like raping people and doing all this. Like, they're clearly the bad guys.
Yeah.
And she's watching all this stuff, and it's like, does she not realize that she's the end result of all of that? Like, that they're the Templars that became this secret society that she's a part of. Doesn't she get it? She's the bad guy. I've never seen a bad guy not realize they were the bad guy. I guess is the way I'm putting it.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't have an answer to.
Like,
all the bad guys knew they were bad guys in the game. So
okay, like, it sort of sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck that much because this movie has such little plot to it that I don't care so much about going over it, because it's like, since they have to jump back and forth between the two sides so often, it just winds up being like two very short stories that are kind of easily gone through, where it's like, okay, so you got fucking Michael Fassbender, Cal. His dad was an assassin who killed his mom. He ran away in and out of institutions, went to jail for murdering a pimp, and is going to get executed, which seems fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's enough for him to get executed, but also the fact that he feels the need to clarify who he murdered in that one scene.
Yeah.
She's like, you were in jail for murder, right? And he's like, a pimp. Like, they don't matter. Like, it seemed really weird. But so he kills a pimp, he goes to jail, he's getting executed. I'm not sure if this has any bearing on the game. Any of this, is this at all like a part of any of the setup to what's going down? Because it seems crazy to me that, what's it again? Abstergo? Okay, that Abstergo like tracked him down in jail, like looking for his bloodline, figured out that he was going to be executed, and then what, did they stop it?
I'm assuming jails are privatized, so they probably pushed for the execution so that they could just take him. I don't know what kind of medical mumbo jumbo they use to revive him, or
well, see, that's what I'm wondering. It's like, is it that they got so lucky that it like literally it was like, well, it didn't take and we were able to get you and everyone thinks you're dead? Or was it like he died and they fucking revived him from the fucking dead? And I couldn't believe that was completely glossed over. It's literally, she just comes in and she's like, you, by the way, you didn't die, but the whole world thinks you did.
Yeah.
Crawl your way out of this room. It's so ridiculous that his legs don't work and he tries to like run away from her, and she just tells everyone like, no, just let him. And I was like, he's so gangly and uncoordinated right now, like falling all over the place. You're letting him climb upstairs, go near ledges and shit, and it's like, you need this guy.
Yeah.
Why are you letting him run around? And it's like, oh God, he fell down those stairs and he broke his neck. Oh my God, why did I tell people not to get him? I should have just got him. So stupid. But he's in this not prison, which is totally prison.
Yep. that is game accurate.
Okay, so like your character is in a place run by Abstergo, and you are not allowed to leave. Like, you're not a part of this crew. It's like, you don't work for Abstergo.
No, they capture you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first guy, Desmond Miles.
Okay.
He gets captured by Abstergo and forced into the Animus, which is a completely different looking machine.
Thank fucking Christ.
The movie version pisses me off.
That is the dumbest thing on the planet, and it seemed so crazy to me because at first I was like, this is for the movie, right? Like, this is because of the movie that they do it like this, where like the device is like throwing him around the room and making him mimic in this lab the stuff that Aguilar did all those fucking 600 years ago or whatever. Like, he's acting the memory. Like, that's what?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's got to just be for the movie. But then at the end, like, spoiler alert, because I'm just going to go all over this place with this movie, because again, there's like It's so dumb. But like he gets to the end and like kind of the whole big deal is like, oh shit, what a bummer that our Animus thing that lets us watch these old memories that we need to watch. What a bummer that it also sort of accidentally trains him to be an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to use the items on his hands all the time while he's like fake fighting. And it's kind of just training him to be an assassin.
Yeah.
So that when he breaks loose, now he's a fucking assassin out of nowhere, even after all those years of his life of not being an assassin at all. What? I see the look on your face. What?
That is kind of canon to game.
What, the Animus like trains you?
Yes. I don't remember how they explain it, but they explain it somehow of him like learning different techniques from repetition in his dreams essentially, and then but it's not like instantaneous. They then go put it to use in like a warehouse, like here, go like climb up this stack of shipping containers and swing across this rope and whatnot.
That is so much more confusing. That has raised so many more questions than I originally had. Because, so like to me, it seemed like it was an unfortunate, like a stupid, unfortunate side effect of the Animus that it's like, oh my God, we've accidentally trained our prisoners who hate us how to effectively assassinate us. Like it seems like it's a weird thing to overlook, but okay, it seems like they did. But now you saying that as he trains, they then take him places to like test his skills.
There's like a warehouse.
Right, but you're saying that the Abstergo people do this.
It's whoever's in charge of your case. Like in the game, it's like one woman and her like computer technician person. So the Animus is a more of like a lounger.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, I haven't played them and I don't remember them well enough, but I was like, I thought it was just like a fucking VR where it's like you sit down and it washes over you.
Yeah.
And then you're in it and you're playing the game and whatever.
Yeah.
In the movie, it seems like an accident. It seems like they're like, oh shit, we accidentally made assassins. Yeah. You're telling me that they're doing this on purpose and they're fostering it.
This one particular woman for this one particular man.
It's not like that's not how they run it. Like we are.
Yeah.
That was just her.
Yes. But
does she eventually like turncoat and become good or something like that? Okay, I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So it is something, but as far as like being like sort of canon, it is something that can happen, that you can gain those skills through the Animus.
Okay, then another question then, because another huge thing in the plot is that like they put him in it once and he like goes back in time, and then there's a sequence with him as Aguilar, the like Spanish whatever, the assassin back in Spain in 1492, and there's some fucking sultan and his kid, and the Templars are exploiting him to get the apple from him, blah blah blah, whatever. That's the past plot. But he goes back, he does like one little thing, or it's like a chase sequence, I think. Is that doesn't he go back and then they jump on those like horse-drawn carriages and shit, and whatever, and I don't remember what brings him out of it, but something eventually brings him back to like the real world, and they're like, oh my God, well, he needs to rest, he can't be in there forever. Is that a thing?
Yes.
That it's like, okay, but so then comes the next question, because then she's like, it'll fucking kill him if he's not going in under his own free will, if we force him to go in it. That's not from the games, right?
Not that I remember.
That seems absurd and stupid and completely counterintuitive. Like, if you tell him that there's no way for him to go in there without free will and not die, then he's no longer doing it out of free will. He's doing it because he's gonna die. If he does, it would seem like a really silly, like trying to turn him to their side kind of thing. Where it's like, what do they give a shit about this guy? They just want the memories to know the location of the shit. Like, he's not fucking worth anything to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, as far as anyone is concerned, I mean, all the other fucking people, they just leave them locked up in like a jail. All the other assassins in this movie, they're all like useless to them now. So they just leave him locked up in a jail. It's like, this guy's no fucking different. They're just like, okay, we need to find the apple. His memories might show us exactly where it is. But what do they give a shit about him going in there of his own free will?
I don't remember when in the games it was really mentioned, but if you're like in the Animus, if it's like under your own free will, like essentially you have a like stronger connection. Whereas if you're forced into it, they can like desync with the memory much more quickly. And so they like Abstergo wants you to go in under your own free will so that they can have longer sessions and get the information that they need instead of forcing you into it and then only getting like a few minutes.
Okay, because the desynchronization did not come across.
Yeah, it didn't
in this
translate very well.
Because it was like he like jumped off a building in the past, so then the Animus like had him hanging upside down from the like ceiling of the room and was like hurtling him towards the floor, and it was like, yeah, what happens now? Like he just leapt off a building. Like, does it just hold him in air until the fall completes and then like drops him or something? Like what happens here? And then it just desynchronizes and he's like having a seizure, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I thought desynchronization was like when you died in the game, isn't it? Isn't that what it says?
When you
like do the wrong thing and you're screwing up the memory or whatever.
Yeah.
That's when desynchronization happens, like in the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Still,
well, except for like the first one where like it actually has the like he's not in under his own free will, so it pulls you out. It's a like tutorial tactic for the game. And that's why it like automatically desyncs you and pulls you out.
Okay.
I was also disappointed that they didn't reference the like invisible barriers ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's
like
all over.
You couldn't leave a certain spot or something.
Like you haven't like remembered this part yet, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is just so weird. Like you have to sit there and just like accept the pseudoscience of it all. But it's a bummer because it's like, well, that sucks that they're just basically not going to explain it at all, because I'm just sitting there wondering kind of what they're doing a lot of the time, like, because it's like, so he has, she keeps like praising him and telling him like, oh my God, what a good job you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he is not doing anything. He does not have free will in these memories because they are memories. He's not like the Animus is what's doing this to him, like flipping him around and making him do all of these things. So it's like telling him he's doing a good job. It's like he's not doing anything. Like literally all he can do is what has already happened.
Yeah.
Like he is not, unless, except for, I guess now talking about it right now, like, oh, good job, like miming the movements well enough that you didn't desynchronize. That's sort of what it is.
Yeah.
But
like,
since they didn't really explain the desynchronization very well, that definitely never occurred to me. Like, oh, good job mimicking, I guess, which is like, how do you do that? Like, are you watching it on a delay? And you know, like, oh, and then he throws the thing behind his head, and then I gotta, right, and then there's this, because it's like, he's amazing at it immediately, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get it. His blood is not his own. He is assassin blood, which I thought that was the weirdest way to phrase it. Like, your blood is not your own. Like, wait a minute, what? to not explain it beyond that for another hour into the movie.
Whose blood is it?
Yeah, where did you get this blood? Where did mine go? But like, so yeah, I get it that he's like, he's got it in him or whatever. But still, it's like, he was never trained in it. He never knew anything about it his entire life. It's not even like, in the years before he went to jail to get fucking executed for killing a pimp, like he started to really look into these assassins things. It's like, no.
Yeah.
His dad killed his mom. His dad told him to run. He ran. He never, ever, 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 ever looked back.
Yeah.
He has nothing. And yet, it's just like, oh no, yeah, he's really good at this.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job at mimicking this old dead assassin who's doing like martial arts that this dude's probably never even heard of in his life. And it's like,
yeah,
just because it's in your blood, like
that's on board with Desmond Miles, though. He was like a like kind of athletic guy. Then he got captured, and then like instant assassin.
Right. I mean, in the game, you kind of have to be. It would suck if the first like 5 levels were like stumbling around. You know what I mean? Like you have to accept that the character is good at what he's doing. I
mean, the sword fighting tutorial in Assassin's Creed 1
takes forever.
Oh my God. There's so many different moves, and you have to like perfect them all, like do them perfectly 3 times in a row, like for each and every move. Oh my God. Okay. Rant over.
Yeah. So in the past like storyline, Aguilar, the Fassbender character, he's searching for the apple too, or he knows that Sultan has it.
Yeah, he
And
knows
he's
the
like-
Sultan has it.
And he's like, the Templars are totally going to use your kid to make you give it to them.
yeah, and he knows that the Sultan will give it up.
Right.
For
He's
his child.
he's like, this dude's a weak ass.
Yeah.
He's gonna give it up immediately. It seemed insane to me. Like, I know that they show them like almost getting like burned at the stake by the Templars, and then they escape and blah blah blah. Like, why didn't they just go to the Sultan immediately and be like, give us your fucking thing or we'll kill your kid? And then fucking he'll give it up to the assassins, and then they're like, all right, game over.
The assassins gave it to him for safekeeping.
Well, terrible
And
choice.
so
Why would they give it to a guy they know is weak and will give it up?
I don't. They don't always make the best decisions.
Clearly.
Yeah, they were like trying to protect his son.
Right, I recall
And
that.
then-
Like, they found the kid, and then they chased him down and took him from the carriage that he was trapped on.
Yeah,
And then the next time they go back in time, he's like going to get executed or something. It seemed like they skipped over him getting caught in the past. Like, they get the kid, and then he comes back.
That's when the first desync happened.
Okay.
Was like the cart like going like off the cliff or whatever, right? And then he like grabs. He has the boy. And he like, right?
Something, I don't know, man.
Something
all
along those
that
lines.
past shit. Every single time it went back in time, it looked exactly the same. And I was like, why is everything in 1492 on fire? It was smoky and
Right.
hazy
Yep.
everywhere. And I was like, this is it's lazy as hell to be like, here's our ancient world, but you kind of can't see a lot of it
Yeah.
because we've hazed it up a whole bunch. But also, it just makes everything look exactly the same and identical. And I don't know where we are. I don't know whose place we're at. You know what I mean? It's like, is this a good place for the assassins? Is this a bad place for them? You don't know till someone tries to kill them or tries to help them. And I'm just like, okay. And then it also doesn't help the fact that they constantly keep cutting back to Michael Fassbender in the Animus doing shit in that thing in the middle of their action sequences.
Yeah, that was an awful decision.
I was like, I was expecting him to get in that thing when he first gets into it, and then they go into the past, and we follow that bird for like 10 minutes. I was like, what does this bird have to do with anything? Is that bird a thing? Is the assassin's bird?
It's an eagle. It's a thing that some assassins can do. Certain bloodlines have like eagle vision, whatever. It's just another game tactic.
Right.
But like anytime you get to the top of a like tower or whatever each game has for your like map unlock points, you get up there and you do the like synchronization to like unlock the area of the map.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like, you
and
climb
there's
up
an
to the
eagle
top
that
and
flies around you.
Okay, every
like,
time?
At least in a couple of the games. I don't know if it's in
Okay.
all of them.
I
but-
just making sure that it's like a big thing. Like, that's why that bird kept showing up, because it's like, this is like a tiny thing from the game, and they're playing this bird up like it's something special.
No,
It's like
the
fucking
eagle
time
shows up a
bird.
bunch.
Okay. But yeah, when he first goes back in time, I was expecting to stay there for a while.
Oh yeah.
And then almost immediately they do like cutbacks during action sequences to him in the thing.
Yeah.
And fucking Sophia talking about it, like, oh, look at him go, or whatever the fuck she's saying. People watching him, the like people at the command consoles and all that stuff. And I was like, why are we not just in the past?
Yeah.
Just stay in the, like, we know what's
We know
happening.
that we know that that's Michael Fassbender. Just keep going.
Yeah, like
Come on.
get the mystery of this section of the movie. I don't know. It feels like the games are way more about the past and way more about doing those things.
Yes.
And the stuff in the real world is like kind of a framing device to get you into that world to go to the past and do all that shit.
For some of the games, the Ezio line of 2 Brotherhood and Revelations, it has like a huge story arc outside of the Animus of them like going to different hideouts because they're running from Abstergo. They have their own like secondary Animus, which is still just a fancy lounger.
Yeah.
and like all this other thing, trying to find different artifacts that belong to the Ancient Ones, which doesn't even get touched in the movie.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
read
actual
a brief.
backstory of all of the fancy ass technology.
Yeah, it was like, so these early gods, and I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm not going to read any of that because that's just going to confuse me further
Yeah.
about this movie. I'm not even going to get into that, but it definitely, I realized,
It's
I was like,
ancient.
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's ancient alien technology, essentially.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, it feels like the game is a lot more about like, do some crazy fun assassin shit in the past. Isn't this fun? And the movie, it makes it seem like it's like, you're interested in this, him in the prison talking with Sophia, aren't you? And it's like, no.
Yeah.
You get back to like doing Assassin's Creedy things.
Yeah.
And they do, but then it's constantly chopped up with stuff in the present and everything. And I didn't care.
Yeah.
Especially because they all felt like such clear bad guys that it was like, okay, so I mean, there's no way that he is gonna like take down this company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what you think.
I mean,
he didn't, but that's always the goal,
right?
Is for the hero to take down the bad company,
right? I just mean, it's like you know that there's no way that all of that is going to come crashing down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like once you know that it's like this has been going on for centuries and these Templars and assassins and all that kind of stuff, you know that it's not just going to be like, and then he's going to take out Jeremy Irons and everything's going to be over.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, not even a slight chance.
Not okay. So he's not taking out the whole like Templar faction, but he does do quite the number on Abstergo.
Right. I mean, with all of his assassin friends who are also trained unwittingly.
Yes.
And also confused me. I guess I kind of figured out later that he was talking about like the person that he was related to. But when Michael K. Williams shows up and he fucking what does he say? He had a specific line. He just said something like that he's from 200 years ago or something. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on here? Like this, they've been testing this dude for like 200. Wait a minute. What is? And so it's like, okay, so he is the current bloodline relative of someone who they wanted to know what he was doing 200 years ago.
Right.
Or whatever. And now that's like in his head.
Well,
he thinks he's that guy because he has a real name, but then he goes by Baptiste, which is the name of the old assassin that he was. So it's like, so he's just like, I don't even want to be normal me anymore. I'm just going to be the guy that I'm related to, apparently.
I guess that seemed like a weird character thing.
I mean, all the other assassins seemed like they have been assassins forever. Like that they are actual, like in the group assassins.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist anymore, right?
No, they do.
Oh. I thought that they were that they specifically talked about how like the assassins aren't even around anymore.
They lied. Like the whole
to
thing.
Me?
Yes, the whole thing with the assassins is that they like live in the shadows. Like they don't make themselves like outwardly known that they exist, but the secret society is there.
Okay, it just seemed weird to me because they don't meet up with any assassins. Like he and all the people in the jail fucking suit up with all the old assassins gear, bust out and go fuck up the Templar thing and murder Jeremy Irons and escape and all that kind of stuff, which is like, dude, Templars.
Yeah.
Security.
Seriously.
Jesus, how do like 8 people get in all intent on assassinating your guy and like nobody fucking notices?
Yeah.
But it's like it's just him and all the people from the jail. And then it's him and those people standing on that rooftop as the movie cuts to credits.
Yeah.
So it's like they never meet up with any current day assassins.
No, they don't, but they're out there. That's how there were people to kidnap.
I guess, but like, but with him, like, there's his story. The people who were related but don't know it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole point of the game? That the people don't know it at first and then they get shown it? Like, look, this is what you were. Or do they come in like, hey, I want to do this because I heard my great grandpa's real tight. I want to watch him jump off buildings. I thought the whole point is that they don't know.
You play as Desmond Miles for a good number of games, so he doesn't know. And then once his storyline is over, he dies. He dies to save the world. It was epic. After that, then you go in as a like employee for Abstergo or like an intern, and you're playing it like digitally, like on a computer essentially, or more of like a VR headset sort of thing is what the Animus becomes in the later games.
Okay.
So there's not even a bloodline relation. They just have these memories available somehow when you go in and play them.
This is so confusing. I don't know if it's just because I assume it's completely because like I don't play the games, but like
Yeah.
the more that I talk about it, the less I get what anybody is doing or why they are doing it or where they are coming from.
Yeah.
It's like the Templars is the only thing that makes any sort of sense to me in terms of like, well, they've been in power,
Yeah.
so they've stuck around, and the Assassins are this like seemingly much smaller group than the Templars.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what this movie sort of shows, it seems like they've been wiped out, but apparently they haven't.
Yeah.
And all these other people have also apparently been through the exact same thing that Cal has been through. You know what I mean? Like there's 6 movies worth of those guys doing this, but then at the end, instead of escaping, they just get thrown back in jail.
Yeah.
And this is the first one where he actually like breaks out with them.
Yeah, because
It's
he's
just-
the one that knew where the apple was. Well, he didn't know. His ancestor knew.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
the whole Animus thing just feels to me like the most dangerous way to go about. It's like as like priceless as like a apparently very like high definition image of a memory that they get
Mhm.
somehow. Like despite how amazing that would be to have in terms of trying to find stuff,
Yeah.
it's like, but in the process, you're helping the Assassins in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't seem worth it. I mean, especially in this movie. I don't know how it works with the games, but in this movie where it just winds up being like, oh shit, it's with Christopher Columbus
Yeah.
right over there. Because we're in Spain and he was buried in Spain and it's right over there. We just walk over and grab it.
Yeah.
And it's not even hidden in his thing. They're literally just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, like someone like brings it out to it.
Like
to
it
them,
was
like,
sitting on a ledge near it. Like,
oh, someone finally came to claim this.
yeah, it's just been hanging out this whole time. That seems insane. Where it's like, oh, where's the secret hiding place of the apple we've been searching for? It's like, oh, it's on a shelf right over there. Like it's not, hasn't been buried or, you know, thrown into the ocean or whatever the fuck. It's like, no, it's just right over there.
Yeah, it's not in some crazy underground cavern with puzzles that you have to solve to get to it.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it would be fun. I had such a problem with Sophia. Not in terms of how well like she acted or anything. Like she was fine in that sense. It was just I really don't understand how that character didn't understand that she was evil.
Yeah.
You know, like
That-
it undermines all the rest of it, because I was like, okay, so she's like a really nice villain. Like she's one who thinks that she's doing good
Right.
even while doing evil that she knows is you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's that balancing act where it's like, I know that it's evil, but it's for the right thing.
Yeah.
So I look at it as a positive.
Yeah.
But no, to her, it's like, this is the best. This is amazing. This is exactly right. And someone's like, wow, God, you're a monster. And she's like, wait, what? I'm a monster? Like, yeah, completely.
Since when?
Yeah. I don't remember. Like, what is it exactly? Like, she has an argument with her dad.
father. Yeah.
But what brings up the, like, I'm evil?
I don't even remember.
Looking in my notes, it was just, I wrote just, are you kidding? Sophia is dumb enough to not realize what her dad and the Templars' plan was. Like, she knows that they are looking for this apple.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you know that you're a part of this secret society. It's not even like that part has been hidden from her.
Yeah.
He's constantly talking about, like, I need to go talk to the elders. I'm talking to the elders. We got all this shit with the elders that we got to deal with. Like, she knows she's a part of some fucking crazy society. And clearly they are the enemies of the Assassins based on everything she has seen from these people's memories. And yet when he's like, yeah, we're going to use it and we're going to destroy the Assassins. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, why is this a surprise to you? That is ridiculous. That's like, it's like playing for the other team while thinking you're playing for the other team. Like, wait,
Yeah.
why? Like, because you're on our team, idiot. Like, oh my God, I am. Like, oh geez. Like, how do you not realize which side you're playing for? It's not even like he was tricking her. It's not even like he revealed something like,
Yeah.
oh, did you think you were doing this? And she was like, oh, the horror. He was
Yeah.
just like, so that plan we have. And she's like, wait, we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we. All of us together. You're evil. Accept it. It sort of bummed me out. I wrote down, I said, if this movie had balls, he'd kill Sophia right now.
Mm-hmm.
When it's after he kills Jeremy Irons, right? Like they sneak in, he cuts his throat, or no, it's before he kills.
Yeah.
She's like leaving because she's apparently surprised at what has occurred.
Yeah.
She's leaving, runs into him, and they talk for a while about what the fuck was happening.
Mhm.
I don't even remember what their dialogue was, but I was just watching it like, he needs to kill her right now.
Yeah.
She is so evil. And the fact that she doesn't understand that she's evil makes her that much more dangerous. You need to kill her right now.
Yeah. He had the perfect line for it too, because he said, you know what happens next, right?
Yeah, and then
Like-
it's just like, and he bails.
And then knife into or glove, retractable blade. There's
Yeah.
the word. Blade into gut.
Yeah.
And then carry on with your assassinating.
Yeah, really, like there's no reason to leave her alive except to leave an enemy for you for a proposed sequel that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it was really dumb to not fucking kill her. Like, just fucking kill her. And I will say, like, for most of the movie, I was not particularly bothered by it being PG-13 for Assassin's Creed, where it's like, okay, they do enough. And since it's
Yeah.
really like fast and there's lots of just like blade slashing and stabbing, like
Yeah.
you could walk past somebody playing the game and not really realize how like bloody it is sometimes, just because it's just like haja, 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 like
Yeah.
whatever that's happening, you're not really paying attention to it.
Yeah.
The only time it was suddenly super obvious and really sad was the moment where he cuts Jeremy Irons' throat, because he just like goes up, blade comes out, swipes it across his neck. There's nothing.
Yeah.
They didn't do any sort of effect.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like they tried to
I
be like, oh, you know what, make it look like the like shirt, is sliced
yeah.
or something, so that you know that like he got hit.
Yeah.
It really seemed like he missed, and
Yeah,
Jeremy
I was
Irons was just shocked.
Yeah.
He was, how could he have missed at this range? It was so easy. And then he just drops to the ground, and then later, eventually, you see some blood like seeping out.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
What
movie,
Yeah, that was
movie.
that was bad.
The fact that they do it in slow motion.
Yeah.
And he like turns and kind of faces the camera
Mhm.
with his throat, and like, and there's absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. I couldn't believe that was happening. I was like, they've spent so much money on so much stuff in this movie, this ridiculous animus, all those sequences of like ghosts
Mhm.
that are chasing and attacking him that he sees from the animus. I assume maybe that's part of the game.
Yeah,
Okay.
the whole like deja vu thing that
Yeah.
happens with it, that is, yeah.
Okay. So it's like that kind of stuff happening, whatever, you know, lots of special effects and
Mhm.
obviously, you know, doing like olden days shit where it's like you have to make a whole city and
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff, whatever. It's like, okay, I get that like there was a lot of money already spent, but do something
Yeah. Like
in that moment. Anything.
2 blood capsules. You couldn't spare that from the art department.
Yeah, like I don't need Jeremy Irons' head to come off.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be a full decapitation, but it's like, let us know what has actually occurred in your movie,
Yeah.
because that was absurd.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine how mad people were watching it, who were like waiting for the blood and then realizing like, oh, I guess we're not going to get it, and then getting that like insulting moment. It's like if he had just done like a shakaw in the back,
Yeah.
it would have been like, okay,
Yeah.
you won't see blood fly because, well, the way it's framed and the whatever.
Mhm.
So,
He's, like stabbed in the spine.
yeah, like
and-
they get away with it. But in this case, it was like, yeah, we want him to slash his throat. Like,
Mhm.
but you can't have blood. Like, oh, right. Well, we already shot it. So
Can we trade the one fuck
yeah,
for the blood at the end?
one random fuck that was unneeded.
I wrote it down. His line was, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, when he's
Like-
in the jail and everyone's talking crazy to him.
Yeah, because he doesn't
And-
understand all the assassin heritage shit yet.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, it just like I really didn't understand why any of that was a thing. Like, why are these prisoners still here? Like, they're evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is clearly an evil company. I think Michael Williams even mentions that like he's of no use to them anymore. Somebody says something like that.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we've already been through that and we didn't help, or like they haven't done that to us in a long time, or whatever it is, like that they've just been sitting in a jail just living out their lives. And it's like, you're an evil Templar fucking thing. You know that these people are like tapped out in terms of what memories you can get from them.
Yeah.
Just
kill them.
Exterminate it.
Yeah.
Why are you keeping them together? Is that in the game?
No.
Okay, good.
that was dumb just for the movie.
I mean, that seems like what they were getting at instead of there being assassins out in the world, is that like these people have to start a new assassins league or whatever. That seemed like what they were getting at with this game. And I was like, I don't think that's how the original game goes, right?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you even see any of the other there's mention of other test subjects in, at the very least, the first and I believe second games, but I don't think you see any of them.
It was weird, man. I was not a huge fan of it overall, mostly just because, like we were saying, with it being split the way that it was like you're getting two very small stories instead of one actual big grand one. And neither of them are particularly compelling.
Yeah.
I liked Aguilar's stuff better just because like he seemed like he cared about what he was doing.
Yeah.
And Cal was just like, I guess I do this now.
Yeah.
And Aguilar was like, I will give my fucking life for this shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, dude, this guy's
Yeah. Let's follow this guy a little more.
Yeah, and his nameless lady friend who eventually gets killed, it was like there was something there at least. Like, not like I was like crying, like, she's gone. Oh, God, she's gone.
She said not to, though. Not if I die.
Yeah, when I die. That was what was cool about her. It was just like, we're doing this. We know it's fucking crazy. When I die, don't stop and mourn for me or whatever. Yeah. And then so it's like, it's going to happen, but you're still like, no.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who do the real cool assassin shit. Because when it gets to the end of the movie and they're in the real world and now Cal is an assassin and all of his old assassin friends are now out there, they do like a couple things. And he like kind of slashes Jeremy Irons' throat. Yeah. And that's about it.
Yeah.
But Aguilar was the one who's got all the fucking cool tattoos and he's fucking jumping on buildings and killing people and all that. And it's like, he's the one doing the fun stuff.
Yeah, he leaps off the building, stabs someone with a hidden blade.
Yeah, like that's the movie I want to be watching. And it felt like they kept cutting back as soon as I started to get interested in it. And I'd be like, shit. And then we'd eventually get back to it. And I was like, well, okay. It seemed like every time my resistance was worn down even more to the point where I was just like, just finish movie. Just please be over.
Which is a shame because they really did have some high quality material to pull from for inspiration.
I mean, overall, they've kind of hit most of the stuff. There were a few things that like either made me laugh or was just like completely devoid of logic to the point of just confusing me. So for one, when they get to the jail, and she says that he's not a prisoner, but he totally is. She is talking to him after he goes through it the first time, and he's like wiped out and like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And she's like, are you hungry? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, follow me. And she takes him not to food.
Right.
They like go into her office and sit and start talking about the old ancient assassins artifacts and stuff. And I was like, lady.
He's hungry.
Like he said he's hungry. Came back from the dead. Woke up in your prison, went into the Animus, came out of it like horrifyingly exhausted, and you're like, the food can wait. Like, get him the food.
No.
What is this?
I thought you didn't want to kill him.
Yeah, like you were the one who wanted him to be good, and it's like, well, fill him with food then.
Feed him.
Yeah. The other one that really weirded me out, so like his dad killed his mom. And then his dad is in the jail. Later on, they're like, he's here.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 whatever. And so they like give him the blade and just like leave him in a room with him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, he's gonna kill him because he's wanted to kill his dad for what he did to his mom and everything. And then he goes and he talks to him. And he talks to him for a while. And he decides not to kill him. And then when he leaves the room, he is gung-ho about going into the Animus.
Yeah.
He's like, I am going to go do this of my own free will. And I was like, what just happened? What changed? Like, he was like, I don't want to do this shit. It's scary and it hurts.
Yeah.
And then he went and he talked to his dad and he's like, I want to murder you. And he's like, well, whatever. And then he doesn't. And then he leaves and he's like, let's fucking do this. And I was like, was there something I totally missed as to what they talked about that made him want to go back into the Animus?
If there was, I missed it too.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff that I missed, and I don't have much desire to go back and watch it again and figure out, like, what did I not get?
Yeah. It's like, well, just go play the game and you can watch.
Yeah, it seems like that would be much more fun. Was it at least like, in terms of an Assassin's Creed movie? You know what I mean? Like, were you like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. The Animus really pisses me off. Like, so much. So much. Like, I get that they had to do something more cinematic.
But they really didn't.
Exactly.
It's like you put them in the machine and then you go in the past and then you stay in the past.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? You don't need to cut back and forth.
Yeah.
Silly.
It was fun to see things that you've like used and played with as far as the games. Like, I'm so glad that they had the smoke bombs. Like that brought me some joy, because that's something that's like a big thing in Revelations, is you learn how to craft bombs. Like, that's the first game in the series that you can craft bombs, and you go to these specific stations and like hollow out not baseballs, but
that old Italian pastime baseball.
Yeah. No, the Revelations doesn't take place in Italy. That one takes place in Constantinople? Istanbul? It would have been Istanbul. Yeah, it takes place in Istanbul. And like, obviously seeing the hidden blade. Mm-hmm. It took way too long for someone to fall into hay, because that's something that happens like within the first 10 minutes of every game. But one thing I did like was the sound of the rooftop guard fight.
Okay.
That was just just the sound of them fighting on those like clay tiled roofs. Okay. That's very distinctive to the game. Like, that happens all the time. So to hear that and like see it kind of silhouetted in the movie was a lot of fun.
Well, that's good.
But still, like, it took way too long for like someone to climb a building. Like,
yeah, that's like the thing.
That's like literally that's what Assassin's Creed was like known for that first game, was repetitive quest lines. Mm-hmm. It was like, you go to a city, you do these 3 quests, come back out of the Animus, go in, you do these 3 quests, you come back out. Like, but it was building climbing, and it was so cool. Parkour and climbing buildings. What fun.
Yeah, it was a real bummer when they started showing a lot of the like building jumping from the Animus's point of view. Mm-hmm. I was like, do it with the buildings. Yeah. Show the cool stuff where the guy is doing it unassisted.
Yeah.
Like, that's the jaw-dropping stuff, not like, oh, that robot's making him do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brilliant.
But they showed the lame like running across the like clotheslines.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Like, that does happen.
I was surprised that there wasn't like I know that you said like they were so annoying, but it's like, I'm surprised that there wasn't any like eavesdropping scene.
Yeah.
Of them like following closely behind someone and like catching words of what they're saying and trying to figure it out and like trying to stay hidden, and that's like one of the only things I've ever played in one of these games. I played one of those missions where it's like, stay behind, watch out, those guards over there might be looking at you.
Yeah.
All right, like there was no real assassinating. Yeah. like the assassinations occurred, but the like sneaky shit that they would do, it seemed like it was always after someone spotted you and you had to run and punch and kill and everything. There was no like sneaking. There was no like, oh, he found a way to get in here and all that. It's like, no, they're just blasting in.
Yeah.
Showing themselves all the time.
Yeah. With the exception of when Aguilar and his lady friend dropped the smoke bombs at the end of her story.
Right. I did forget about that.
So
it was like the one thing. They were standing on the roof and they like looked down and they're like, oh, they're in there. Let's get them.
And there was one scene of an assassin. I don't remember if it was Aguilar or not, but one of the assassins jumping off a roof and onto a guard as they come down with the hidden blade. Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Of the 3 that we've watched so far, this one probably looked the best and had the best cast, but I would probably say that I had more fun with Max Payne just because it was so silly. This one felt a little taking itself more seriously, even more than Max Payne was. This
Which
movie
is
was
surprising.
Yeah.
I would have to agree begrudgingly. I love the games, and maybe that was my downfall, was being too big a fan of the games, not enough to like understand the technology of what the movie was doing.
Oh well.
On to the next.
Yeah, still got a couple more movies left here on Video Game Movie Month. And coming up next week is one that I know that a lot of people love, and I've watched it a bunch as a kid, so I'm excited to watch it again as an adult. Is the original Mortal Kombat. That's going to be tough. You
That's like the
not,
extent of my knowledge.
You are not prepared for Mortal Kombat, so I'm excited to get to that one. But I think that's going to wrap it up here for Popcorn for Dinner this week. This is Jeff.
And Kelly.
How is your beautiful daughter?